Previously on Maplestory the novel, Sacred Tears.
We have to get Mars or Vieren on our side.
Aye, Commander. You can count on me.
If this is some kind of joke,
It still doesn't seem right.
we are close to finding what we have been after all this time.
You knew about the omens?
And now the continuation of Chapter 21, Part 2.
You knew about the omens?
People were suffering worldwide, and you knew who created these monsters? Omens have been appearing long before the Master began his research in earnest. The omens appearing recently are the doing of the Master. Yes, it is a great evil, but a necessary one if it means that darkness will be wiped from the face of Usoira.
A necessary evil? You would put your clerics and your own acolytes' lives at risk? What of the people that have died in the world to these omens? What of the clerics and acolytes who were injured while fighting them? What would you say to those that lay their very life on the line while you sit back and watch?
We all take risks, Commander Tahir. That is what we of the Aurora are for.
Calculated risks, not blind warfare with something far more dangerous than we imagined.
It is still a needed evil, Commander.
Tahir's face shifted through shades of red, reaching for his dagger in a blur.
Open the door, move aside, or I will go through you and open it myself.
Mars's brow became set, lowering over his eyes as he held his staff forward.
You are not thinking of the grand picture, Commander. Mars! The world is in a grave state. Who knows what will happen if darkness completely corrupts Master Dane?
Shouted Vieren. Mars clenched his jaw tighter, his knuckles whitening on his staff.
Neither of you are seeing the larger picture!
Bellowed Mars. Tahir tried to duck around him, bolting for the laboratory door when a wall of opaque white appeared before him. Metal slapping metal echoed through the hall as a box made of white light surrounded him. Vieren was about to move to counter until three other clerics trained their staves on him, each glowing with golden light.
Take him to the brig and confiscate Vieren's staff. Vieren, I am confining you to quarters. I will be by shortly to speak with you,
Mars commanded. A cleric came forward, holding his staff toward Tahir's box and directing it out of the room. An acolyte reluctantly took Vieren's staff away as two more burly clerics came in and escorted him to his room.
You are making a grave mistake, Mars! Listen to me! The Master must be stopped!
Tahir screamed. But Mars turned away, stowing Vieren's staff on the wall next to the lab's door. Gathering the latest cores, Dane dumped them into the large jar, shaking it around and pouring out the large lump within. For a long while, he stared at it, watching as it swirled within its glistening skin.
Is it almost complete?
A voice within Dane's head asked.
No, it is complete. I must only direct this mass through a single emotion, and I will have my ultimate light.
Dane muttered to himself, reaching for his staff when he felt something holding him back.
There will be no need for that staff from now on, little mage.
The voice in his head boomed, making the reach for his staff harder and harder. Inch by inch, Dane moved his arm, legs, and body closer to the staff. When his finger was about to touch it, Dane felt his body freeze, unable to move any closer.
You may have found your ultimate darkness, But what good will it do to turn it into your ultimate light? Nothing will be left once you've used this darkness, much like paper to a fire.
Paper will start a fire, not sustain it.
Dane grunted, trying to close the tiny gap to his staff.
Exactly. Ultimate darkness can only start the ultimate light. It cannot sustain it.
Then, what should I do? I have everything I need to finally rid the world of darkness.
Deep within him, an uncomfortable stirring writhed so wildly that his stomach churned. His head felt light, and his vision blurred for a moment. It was almost as if the voice within his mind was growling in anger.
You have found a way to momentarily scare it away. You should remember from your past that darkness is not so easily vanquished.
No, you're wrong. The ultimate light I have carried with me all this time, given to me by Menadora, will be the light that cleanses the darkness
You
from...
will cleanse nothing.
The voice boomed, throwing him to the ground in a lifeless heap.
But what of...
Your precious light is nothing before darkness. You have studied my properties and used me to create and refine a darkness that not even the gods can counter. You shall be my emissary of justice to deliver that which those who live rightly deserve.
And what is that? Vengeance. Justice. Destroy everything they hold dear. There is no ultimate light.
He felt himself say with a malicious growl. His eyes widened, wanting to reach for the lump of darkness he had created to destroy it.
You're wrong.
He whispered, a spell of light flaring in his opposite hand, ready to purge this darkness he had created.
Am I? Then tell me, what has light ever brought you?
It brought me Menadora.
And she is dead because of it.
It has brought me the acquaintance of deities.
They used you before you were even born. Even your precious Ariel uses you only for her goals. Anyone can speak sweet words of love and care. Light has yet to bring you a single thing. It has only shown you who is afraid of the dark.
I have found friends in that same search to understand light and to find the ultimate light.
They only stay because they need you to teach them. Once they are masters, they will all abandon you.
It has brought me my daughter.
You use her for your own goals. She is a tool.
But what about...
The ultimate light. A farce. The world only appears lighter because you aren't focused on the darkness. If you want to be truly strong, then forget them all. Show them just how powerful your darkness really is. Show them Magus Sloe.
With heavy arms, Dane pulled himself up, picking up the lump of darkness from the floor and watching the swirls of black and gray within it, dissipating his light spell. All at once, he reached for the tome given to him by Arcarium. Setting the book on its spine, it fell open to the center page, depicting an alchemic circle labeled Gran Umbra Arca, the great circle of dark alchemy, created in collaboration between him and Arcarium. He cleared the floor of any furniture, swept it clear of dirt and dust, and then began to etch out the pattern on the stone floor.
There is no ultimate light. It is only a lie to make the world seem less lonely. The only constant in this world is pain, and thus darkness. I will give them the ultimate darkness. If they want to fear something, then
They shall have Magus Sloe. The pursuit of light has brought me nothing but pain. You may be able to create a power that towers even gods by combining anti-magic and darkness. But even that will not have the power to destroy it all. Then I will absorb all the world's darkness.
Dane seethed.
Even by taking me in, you still will not have the power to eradicate everything. There is still that which exists beyond our little planet. Then I will take the power of Rhinne. Ariel wants to create a new world. Then that is what she'll have.
Shadows hissed around Dane as he carved, turning his eyes a glowing red. His hands and arms became thin and bony, but still held great strength within them as he carved out the stone faster and faster.
There is no ultimate light. It is a myth. There is, however, ultimate darkness, and I will show it to them.
Will ran as fast as he could back to the meeting spot, looking over his shoulder periodically to make sure he wasn't being followed until he ran into something solid. As he fell back, he panicked, convinced another cleric had found him until hands with an iron grip wrapped around his arms and caught him, breathing relief when he saw it was Eleanor.
Will, where have you been? Xenos and I have been so worried.
She exclaimed, setting Will down. Taking a moment to catch his breath, Will leaned on his knees.
The commander was detained. Master Mars admitted. To all the clerics and acolytes, he's known what's been happening.
And he sees nothing wrong with that? And what about Master Vieren?
Eleanor questioned as Will shook his head.
I lost track of Master Vieren and all the chaos. But Master Mars claims that Master Dane's making the omens more powerful is a necessary evil. I don't even know what I've been fighting for anymore.
Eleanor set her brow, her eyes narrowing to slits as a low thrum gently thundered from under her breastplate.
You said, Master... No. You said that Mars confessed to the whole of Aurora.
Eleanor asked.
Just about.
Will sighed, finally catching his breath and standing up once more.
Then all we need are Vieren and Commander Tahir back. Without them, I doubt any acolytes or clerics will align with us.
Why don't you lead them, love? Xenos asked as Eleanor shook her head.
Tahir was the first to see it. If anyone can make them understand, he can.
Well then, whatever you have in mind, it's going to take all three of us.
Will chuckled as Eleanor smiled.
I know. And here's how it will happen. Will, you and Xenos will go to the holding area. I'm going to break the wall down, and when I do, knock out the guards.
Reaching to her belt, Eleanor grabbed her jailer's key and handed it to Will.
I will be outside preparing to break down Tahir's cell wall. I doubt they would have put the two of them together.
And how do you know which one they'll put him in? We have 4 cells.
Will countered as Eleanor held up her sword, revealing her pommel's flat end.
I'll be using a little magical radar trick Xenos taught me. Now, once I break down the wall, everyone will no doubt be on high alert, so we need to move fast.
Will and Xenos nodded in understanding until the latter added to the plan. I think I'll go into the temple first and busy myself in the depository. I can remain behind as your eyes and ears for what's happening.
Xenos, that's too dangerous.
Eleanor pleaded as he patted her hand. The whole world's at stake, love. Like it or not, we're all in danger until the situation is resolved. I'll be careful. Eleanor's breath hitched and pulsed as though on the edge of tears, closing her eyes and pursing her lips hard until Xenos' touch on her cheek made her face him.
All right, but you better come back.
She smiled, kissing him firmly as the small troop raced back to the temple. Ariel watched the world far below. There was something different about it. It was as if the planet itself were suffering from a bad case of the jitters, waiting for something to happen. Rhinne stood beside her, focusing on Will as he moved through the Forest of Peace. After telling her what had happened, the little goddess paced and impatiently watched the world below, turning to her mother for the 1000th time.
Please, just let me go back there. Something is happening. I can feel it.
Rhinne begged, shaking Ariel's concentration.
I told you. It's too dangerous for you to.
Something interrupted her and caught Ariel's attention. A pull. No, this wasn't a pull, but a call to her. A prayer. She had ignored it for so long before she met Dane that she had almost forgotten what a prayer felt like. With a command to Clank to keep Rhinne from leaving the temple, Ariel followed the call to a fountain spewing darker colored sand than the rest of the fountains. Wiping her hand across the bench, she cleared the dust and grains away to see a title etched into the marble. Pantheon. With a wave of her hand, the fountain's streams formed a circle in midair, showing a view of a warrior dressed in heavy red armor, kneeling at his immense sword and holding his wings low.
Goddess Ariel of the land called Usoira, please hear my prayer that I may tell of danger in your presence.
Ariel grinned, thinking back to the days when the people of Usoira used to pray to her like that.
I am here, warrior. I have heard your prayer and I answer. What is it that you beseech?
She asked, a glow lighting the area around the man. He looked up, stunned, putting a hand before his eyes and bowing down again.
Goddess, I am a humble servant of my people. I am Kaisir Valkyrion, Master Guardian of the Drakova. I come to you to warn you of one that has strayed, and thus was banished from our lands. I fear he has gone to Usoria and will do whatever it takes to gather power. Beware of him, for he is formidable.
Be at ease, Valkyrion. What is this man's name?
Smiled Ariel.
I knew him as Macross, Goddess, but he has since abandoned that name and chosen Magnus.
Ariel tilted her head in interest.
And what did Magnus do to deserve banishment from your lands?
Magnus is a Drakova of strong body and stronger will. He sought the title of Kaisir and its power to overthrow neighboring countries to expand our territory aggressively. The title of Kaisir is a great responsibility to the Drakova as Master Guardian, not Conqueror. The previous Kaisir thus chose me as her successor. But Magnus would not accept this and slew the Council of Ten, demanding that he be named Kaisir.
And so, for his crime, you banished him, and now he seeks power to take the title by force.
Yes, Goddess.
I thank you for your warning, Kaisir Valkyrion. I shall keep my eyes on the world for him.
Valkyrion bowed his head lower, touching his fingers to his forehead before standing from his knelt position. With another wave of her hand, Ariel allowed the sands to collapse back together. So many things were happening in Usoria. It was a wonder that everything hadn't fallen apart already. She walked back to the balcony that was overlooking Usoria when she heard Rhinne let out a shrill scream. For the third time, Tahir had counted the bars in his cell. For the third time, the guard told him to stop tapping his finger against them as he counted, and for the third time, he didn't abide. How could the Aurora be so blind as to what was happening? Mars admitted that Dane was creating the stronger omens and had known about them for some time, and still he saw no problem with it. The weight of what he knew had to be done kept mounting in his mind, losing track of time after 4 hours. Tapping on the bars of his cell seemed like a way to bring one of the clerics to stop him, and thus allow him to knock one out and escape by using their key. But they seemed to have an endless well of patience. Will, Xenos, and Eleanor were still on the outside, and he didn't know what they were up to since they had parted ways near the beginning of the day.
I have to get out of here now!
Tahir thought, looking at the lock on the cell door. If it were an ordinary lock, he could pick it in moments. However, this lock was magically enhanced, so even if Tahir could pick the physical lock, magic would keep it shut. From outside, he thought he could hear a hammer tapping on the stone approaching him. After a few moments, the sound stopped, moving on his wall and became more of a pattern. When the tapping stopped, he thought about what the pattern was trying to tell him until he heard the familiar sound of light magic charging. No sooner had he dove to the side of his cell than a blast of light and sound ripped through the back wall. Instantly, the guards sounded the alarm, one running for reinforcements and the other coming to the cell's door. Tahir heard the running guard being hit, and soon after, someone knocked the second guard to the ground, unconscious.
Commander, are you all right?
Eleanor called, setting a heavy foot on the rubble of the back wall. Tahir coughed as he pushed out of the wreckage, waving his hand back and forth to clear the dust away from his face.
I'm fine. Try to leave more time between your warning and your breaking of walls next time.